How's it going, everyone? Wayne the Unknown here, and welcome to Geeking Out, where we basically discuss everything nerd and geek related. In this episode, I'm joined here by Kira's Cosplay, and we are doing a segment on Was It Worth Making? And the topic for this review is Horizon Zero Dawn, which came out for the PS4 back in, I want to say, what, 2017?
Sounds about right.
It's been a while, and the game still holds up to this day, especially for being released on the PS4.
Yeah, it really does. I've played it a couple times. I've, I've played it through 6 times, and it's still a good to me.
6 times already?
Yeah.
Oh man. And I see you're cosplaying as Aloy's Noir Brave outfit that she gets like halfway through the beginning of the game.
Yeah, so I'm a little biased.
I mean I mean it's not a review for the game if you're not fully dedicated.
Isn't that the truth?
So I guess to begin, what were your thoughts when you first heard that this game was coming out for PlayStation?
So I grew up not having a whole lot of game systems in my life. My parents wouldn't let me get one. So when Horizon Zero Dawn first came out, I actually did not have a system for it. And at the time I was watching a lot of gamers on YouTube playing through games. And one of the first trailers came out and I looked at it and I saw a picture of Aloy. I was like, what is this? What? I genuinely thought it was a trailer for like an online game with like teams and you fight against each other. I'm like, she looks, like a League character or whatever.
Right.
A game like that, I'm like, that's not usually my style. And the game was released on the PlayStation. I was like, okay, I'll like watch a playthrough of it. So I did. It was okay. It was fine, whatever. But I was like, it was an open world game. Maybe that's something I should play for myself.
Yeah.
And I did. I bought a PlayStation just to play this game.
I mean, if you look at it, it's a pretty well open world game. And I was just looking up, it came out February 28th. So 10 days after the sequel is released, it will be about, I want to say, 5 years since.
It's already been that long?
Yeah, so yeah, 10 days after that will be the 5 year anniversary.
Dang.
Of 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 5 years for since the release of Horizon Zero Dawn.
That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah, when I first saw it, I was like, this game doesn't look interesting. I don't think I'll get into this game. It's open world. I don't like open worlds to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And about, I think, last year or so, or year before that, my sister had this game, so I was like, okay, I'll see what it's like. And I was watching some gameplay footage of it on YouTube, and I was like, okay, this may be worth playing.
Yeah.
So I bought a while back, I bought the extended version that comes with like, the artwork and the DLC
Right.
for Frozen Wilds. And not long ago, I actually beat the game, the main story.
Hey!
And I'm still slowly working on the DLC and everything.
Nice.
So I guess now the plots. What were your thoughts on the story itself?
Oh, I loved it. Cried like a baby. I cry every time I play it.
I mean, it's basically tells the story of Aloy, who you find out. I mean, I don't think there's really, the game's like 5 years old now. I don't think there's really a spoiler. And you basically, she's a genetic clone of Dr. Elizabeth Stobeck, basically. Yes. And it's her goal in life to basically keep humanity safe and everything, I guess.
Right.
So, your thoughts on Aloy, the main character?
I liked her a lot. I liked that she had some sass, and she wasn't always eloquent in conversation, wasn't always super likable, and I did like that in a main character. I don't like a main character who's too likable. So I did like the fact that she had some edge. I definitely saw some parts of myself in her, which I enjoyed, and I also really enjoyed that she was a female and that you could not change the gender of the character. I
I,
don't, in at least like the media I've watched and like played, there aren't a whole lot of really awesome main female characters.
I mean, you got Sinoa. Um, yeah, no, I mean, you don't really see, and I hate to say this, and I don't care if I get flack or hate for you really don't see many main female protagonists who are like Aloy. As much as I want to say, like the modern day Tomb Raider games,
Yeah.
they made Lara Croft a basically a big crybaby.
Yeah.
And the one thing I do like about Aloy is that, yeah, she's shunned from everyone. She's
Right.
not accepted, and she's basically raised in the outskirts
Hmm.
of, I can't remember the name of the place she's raised in. All Mother, I think is what it's called.
Right.
Mother's Embrace or something. And she's raised basically, from a baby. She had no mother, so basically she was raised by Rost and everything to learn how to survive out there and everything. Um, so the gameplay, what were your thoughts on the gameplay?
I'm a huge fan of open world games, so this was the game for me. It was great. I actually played this game after I finished playing Breath of the Wild, and my sister hates me for it, but I could never stop comparing the two because when I played Breath of the Wild, I was like, I mean, it's big, it's open, but stuff is missing. I was like, I could go for miles and miles and miles and not run into anything. But like with Horizon Zero Dawn, I felt like no matter where I went, there was something for me to do or something for me to see or a different machine for me to fight. I definitely liked that aspect. And then I tend to be a brute force player too. So you can imagine the first couple machines I went up to, I just took the spear and tried to beat the machine to death.
I think.
That did not work, and the game kicked my ass really fast and
Oh
said, you
yeah,
can't do
no.
that.
Yeah,
I thought that was very interesting.
I do have to say, gameplay wise, I do like the game of mechanics, especially when you get fighting against machines. How anytime you hit a certain point on the machine, it breaks off and it causes a
Mhm.
lot of damage. That's the one thing I have to say I do like about Horizon Zero Dawn is the fighting mechanics and everything.
Right.
I don't
I
really
like the quick menu that comes up so you can like switch between
read
weapons and
your
arrows.
trip caster and everything.
Right.
Rope caster. I think my favorite thing, honestly, is the trip caster because it's definitely when you're going against a sawtooth, it comes in handy,
Right.
especially your bigger enemies. So I guess before we talk about the main story, what would you say your least favorite thing to fight was in that game?
No, I have to think about this. Um, it's probably my favorite and my least favorite, but it was probably the Scorcher in the DLC. It's
Score.
just it's the flaming dog.
Okay, I vaguely remember those.
It's like one of the first machines you run into.
I made the
And it
mistake by not scanning the machines when fighting them. I thought you fight them and then they get added to the thing you get to read about. Then realize you have to scan them,
right.
and then you see what their weakness is, what their yeah.
But it's probably the Scorcher because how I tended to play the game was I would use the trip wires a lot, and I'd
Hmm.
use the explosive wire in particular. But the Scorcher, it's so fast and it jumps so far that it kept clearing my ropes and would just land on top of me and squash me. And I was like, oh, well, that's not gonna work out.
Uh, some more talk about gameplay. What were your thoughts on the mapping system? How you can unlock more areas when you had to climb on top of those tall necks? I think they were called.
Yeah. So usually I'm not a fan of that, especially like, I've done this before. I've done it in Assassin's Creed, not my favorite thing. But I did appreciate that each one was a slightly different puzzle, and there were only, what, 4 or 5 of them you had to do to unlock the whole map instead of, like, I felt like in Assassin's Creed I had to go, like, every 300
Oh
feet and climb something.
God, that's for another.
That
That's
got
for
old
another. That's
fast.
for another review. I I mean, I'll admit, when I was like playing this, because I played it for like the first 2 hours of it, and then I
Hmm.
replayed it again because it's like I forgot where I was and what I needed to do. But
Oh, yep.
my main thing in that game was to get all the tall neck locations, just so I wouldn't have to, you know, go back and do it again. That was my main focus.
Right.
Just get all the maps, just so I know where everything's at. And also, I think when we talked about it, you were letting me know what the cauldrons were, because I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that the one quest you get early in the game before you go to the Karja place, wherever,
Right,
that
Meridian.
Meridian. Thank you. God, I haven't played the game in like a month or so. But yeah, no. I want to get all those out of the way. And again, I didn't realize that in order to start the cauldrons, it was a side quest that you got before you go to Meridian.
I'm I'm just a very distracted player, and that's why open world games are great for me because like they're like, hey, the main quest is over here. I'm like, what? I'm going this way. So I just did a whole bunch of random exploration and a whole bunch of random side quests. And that's how I found out about the cauldrons. That's
Yeah,
it. It was
I
kind of an accident.
I didn't know what it was, because every time it said the loading screen, and like, in order to unlock, in order to unlock more ways to control the machines, you have to be like, this is the cauldrons. Like, is that like an ability? Is that a skill I'm not knowing about? Then I looked up online, and then I remember you telling me during through Discord, it's like, oh, well, if all I know is if the sequel has that, I will remember that.
I mean, it's pretty awesome to override a Thunder John than have it do your dirty work. Like, it makes my life easy.
Oh yeah, no, the Thunderjaws. They're like those jaguar looking things, right?
It's more like a T-Rex.
God, oh, again. I know I played the game like not long ago, but I'm terrible with the names, mind you. I also didn't scan the names. I'm just gonna call them what they look like, and you can correct me if you want, because you've played this game. I mean, I hate to say this, but you're obsessed with this game. It sounds like.
I have no idea what you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about.
Sure. So I guess one of the other things, what were your thoughts like on the leveling transitions? Like, it's like a snowy region, and then you go to Meridian, and it's just instant desert. I think that when I was looking at the game, they said that that part takes place in Utah and Arizona.
Yes. Yeah, I'm familiar with that area. Actually, I've been there. I was looking around on the map. I was like, is this Bryce Canyon? Is this Bryce Canyon? And then, they released the DLC. I was like, this is Yellowstone. Oh my God, I know exactly where this is. I liked the variety of, my hair
Terrain,
floating around. I liked the variety of climates.
the terrain and everything.
Yeah, I thought that definitely made it interesting.
I think what they were saying, the Nora homeworld was like Colorado or something.
Yeah, it's
You
that it's near you can see it when you're just wandering through the world. There's like a like a US Air Force Academy building in there.
Nice. Yeah, when I saw this game, I didn't realize at first this took place on Earth, like
Yeah, yeah.
400 years into the future. Until again, I had to look it up. Like, oh, okay. Because when I saw the trailer for the sequel, it's like, wait, that's the Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, so it takes place in the U.S. somewhere around along that line, which I thought
No,
was
for
pretty
sure.
cool.
I totally know what you mean. It wasn't until like halfway through the game and I saw some landmarks and then they're like, we're going to the US Robot Command. I was like, you're going where? Hold on. What? Oh, okay. This is not just Earth, this is my Earth. Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I think the developers, I can't remember who. I have to look who created the game. I guess while we're before we talk more about the story, what else were some of your favorite aspects for Horizon Zero Dawn?
Just anything in general.
Yeah, but yeah, anything in general that pops up. Uh, yeah.
I did like the variety of arrows and like tripwires you could use in general. You know, there's like the electricity and
Explosive
the
arrows were my
explosive
favorite.
and fire. I thought that definitely made it interesting. Um, I liked. I know a lot of people didn't like the winged machines, but I really had fun fighting the Stormbird, the
I mean,
really big one.
the one, the like I remember seeing the one in Meridian. It's like I saw it. It's like, do I really want to attack that thing? Do I really just want to just? Yeah. So I had to use the I was when it comes to like the flyers mainly. I used the rope caster to bring that thing down because that's the
Right,
only thing you can do to bring it down. Because if you don't, you're wasting arrows.
right.
But luckily, gathering materials and everything was really easy. So you can just, and that's another thing I like how you can make more mid battle and not like
Oh, for sure.
again for a game that that's old and that advanced by what was it? I just looked. uh, no, I don't.
I also did like the fact that I think there was only one side quest I did that I
Guerrilla
really like.
Games. That was the name. That's the
Oh
creator
yeah,
of.
yeah. I think there was only one side quest I did in the game that I didn't like. Everything else felt relatable or relevant, not just like I was going and like doing someone's errands. They're like, Aloy, go get my bread. None of that.
What was the
I
side quest that you didn't like?
what was the one where some guy in Meridian has like a sword stolen?
Oh yeah, I did that one. He, his sword stolen. You find out why, and then you compromise.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of the hunter lodges. I didn't do any of those.
I 100% of the game, so I did all of it.
Of course,
All of it.
overachiever.
I know.
I can't fault you on that. Sometimes, sometimes I get why people do that because they want to like experience the full game. I did the main missions. I did some of the side quests if I felt like it was deemed necessary, just because I didn't want to finish the game right away.
Yeah.
Um, so I
When I
guess
play games and watch movies too, I just feel like there's a lot of times there's just a lot of story going on. So I
right.
did replay the game and did like a speed run of it for like just the plot. Because I was like, there's a lot going on. I want to make sure I got everything. Should probably do that again.
That makes sense. What were your thoughts on knowing that Ashley Birch was voicing both Aloy and Dr. Elizabeth Sobek?
I was definitely surprised, but I think it was a good move. I think it definitely helped sell like the clone aspect of Aloy and the
Mm-hmm.
story in general.
I mean, the gal did voice Tiny Tina in Borderlands.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So,
And then I think she's in The Last of Us too, also.
yeah, she is in The Last of Us Part Two as like one of the side characters.
Yeah, I was
No,
surprised. I was like, oh, wait a
yeah,
minute.
I know her voice is easily recognizable. I think they did the smart move by casting someone like her to voice the main character. I don't know many much about the other characters. I will say I do have some of my least favorite. The one, I can't remember. I think it's matriarch Isra. I think it's the one who doesn't really like you.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And then the other one who basically, Aloy straight up tells, with you here, I thought you were guarding a latrine.
Yeah. The the random other Nora folks. Yeah.
So I guess now onto the story. Starting with, I know like the beginning of the game, it shows if you don't skip it before the main menu, it shows Ross basically taking Aloy to, get her named and everything. Because
Right.
she was, I know they were saying like at the beginning of the game she was found at All Mother through that secret door. I would like to know how Aloy was brought from inside that facility that we go into later on to how she got like brought out there. I would like to know that. That's one thing that kind of bugs me is how does they say they found her crying, but like how did she get out into that spot?
Right, because there was technically like no one living in All Mother in like that Gaia incubation area. Like no one was living there.
Mm-mm.
And she's not old enough to like crawl out.
So
I don't know.
that's one thing that kind of bugs me that they don't really say, oh, we just heard you crying and we found you. No mother at all, so whatever.
I mean, I guess it is possible that maybe like this was before the door was corrupt and they could potentially get through, but I'm not sure.
I don't know. Even later on in the game, when you go back to find out more what happened, it still kind of doesn't explain because you see like the holograms of the clones and everything that were supposed to start the world. And again, so and this is another thing that bugs me. The Noir and all those people, like where did they come from exactly? Did they come from people who, lived from the old world, or they descendants from that's again, there's a lot I feel like that should be explained, but I know some people it's like, oh, it should be explained, just take it for what it is, but it's like it kind of bugs me at the same time.
I think the Nora and the other tribes are just people who were originally in that incubation area where Aloy was found, and they
Mhm.
just set up camp right outside, and then just over generations and generations,
And they
kind
just
of
basically they forgot where they came from in a way.
yeah,
So
and they just never moved terribly far.
they're
That was
basically
my
like
understanding.
they're basically like Aloy, except the first humans coming into the new world, so to speak.
Right.
And I guess no one really knows. So I don't know. I just know like the main quest is for Aloy to find out who she is, what's her purpose,
For sure.
but also to stop a rogue AI named Hades from bringing back the old war machines.
Right.
I guess. Now, what was your opinion on the story of where Aloy basically has to find out who she was, but then also finding out, oh, I also have to stop this rogue AI that my, I guess, quote unquote mother and a few other scientists helped make with all these other AIs to bring the world together and everything. What was your opinion on thought on that main story, I should say?
I thought it was really interesting how the story went from Aloy's own personal mystery and it just kind of went into this tangle of other things, other loose ends, other mysteries, if you will.
Mhm.
And I did like that it related more to the world as a whole, because it definitely explained, how did we get here? What's going on? What are all the different components of Gaia? Oh, this is Hades' function. Hades has gone rogue. You need to stop it.
Still the worst boss ever.
I mean, it has a little bit of the, you've been chosen to save the world syndrome, but
Pretty much.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, she does meet a lot of people along the way. Along the way, some more Nora, which you get to see some return to the sequel. Aaron, which is
Right.
probably my favorite character in the world. Especially, I love his side quest where you have to help him find his sister.
Yes,
Ezra.
I love Aaron. I love Varl. I think Varl is supposed to come back in Horizon Forbidden West.
Yeah, I've seen the trailer where he does come back, and I'm guessing this takes place a few years after the events of the first one because no one looks like they really aged.
Right.
It's my theory. It just seems like no one's really aged, so it must take place like a year or two after the events of the first one.
Right. I really liked what they did with the side characters. There were a lot of memorable side characters that I liked.
Aaron, Varl,
Ikri, Talana. Ikri, you might not have gotten to her yet. She's in the DLC.
Is she the one who is on top of the rock, painting? How she said she drank one time. She drank paint to keep warm.
No, not that one. She's kind of abandoned the Banuk because her friend was injured, and they're off fending for themselves in the snow.
Again, I haven't got that far. Like I said, I'm with the DLC right now. I'm at the part where You just got back from to help that one. I can't remember her name, but it required a puzzle, which I hate. Not the first one because that's easy. The second one, we have to help her, retrieve that message from the AI that she thought was like the spirit.
Right.
I can't remember the lady's name.
Araya?
Yeah, I think so. Again, all I know though with the DLC is you have to stop something from happening from with that giant volcano, and I haven't finished that yet. I do have to say, speaking of characters, my favorite character is Silence. Not only is he only voiced by the same guy, but he's also mocapped by the same actor too, who's also in another game I remember called God, I can't remember the name of the game, but he voiced and played the character as well.
Gotcha. I like Silence too. I like that he always, even on a good day, he made me uneasy, and I really liked that about him. He's kind of an ally of convenience.
I mean, he used to work for the Eclipse and everything.
Yeah, that's a little shady.
Then you realize, oh, okay, so you work for the Eclipse, but then you realize once they, were worshiping and listening to Hades and you're like, yeah, I'm done. So yeah, would you say that the main villain in the game would be Hades, that rogue AI that basically helped destroy the world with them giant machines that you have to fight every so often?
I mean, I feel like yes, but maybe not its own fault because Hades doesn't really know what he's doing. I think it's an end credit scene where we see Silence meeting up with Hades
and captured him in that weird container thing.
So without that knowledge, sure, I'd call Hades the big bad, but with that extra scene,
right,
capturing Hades and saying, now, you're going to do what I want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that we see Silence come back and he's the true big bad because...
I mean, we see him in the trailer, so I mean, he has to come back. Who is the other villain? The one of the Eclipse who we see after the proving that attack all the Noir and everything. He kills Rost. I can't remember. Yeah, thank you. What are your thoughts on him as a red herring villain?
He was all right. I mean, he did his job. He wasn't my favorite. I did like when you're at the Shadow Karja homeland and you have to go into the ruins and explore underneath. I think that's the US Robot Command. And you're in the middle of learning about Gaia, and he just slowly creeps down on his little wire and blows the place up and captures Aloy. I did think that was a good sneaky environmental surprise, but
oh yeah,
he's not terribly interesting. He was a little one-dimensional to me, but
I mean, his death scene could have been a lot more better after you fought him during the attack on Meridian, which I think has to be the biggest settlement you get to go to in the game.
Yeah.
Aside from the Nora.
Right.
Almost. Again, I'm terrible with the names, so anyone who's watching this, don't hate me. I'm not really. I was more focused on the gameplay than anything, and then remembering the name of the places. I was more into the fast traveling thing. That's the one thing. Sure. That's the one thing I like was the fast travel packs, and then I realized. I didn't realize until then that you could buy the infinite one until I was getting close to the game. So wait, that's a thing? I could have instead of making all these camp bedroll things, I could have just bought one of those with all the items.
That's hilarious.
On that topic, what did you think of the trading and sell system? If you wanted to buy this item, you would have to trade, whatever you found in the world, whether it was killing an animal, destroying a machine, or just finding random things. What was your thought on that whole merchant system in the game?
I liked it, and one of the reasons I did like it, because that mechanic is definitely in other games I've played, but one reason that I did like it in Horizon Zero Dawn is because they had you could if I'm missing a watcher lens, I can tag that and it gets marked on my map, and I can find where I can find that
Oh,
specific thing.
I didn't know that.
It makes your life a lot easier.
Jeez.
So, you know, if you're missing 3 watcher lenses and you can filter through your map and it just show up on your map, it's like, oh, well, there are my 3 lenses. Let me just go get them. Because,
Well,
like, I think Breath of the Wild has a similar mechanic. And there's another game I've been playing recently. It's Fallout 4. It has a similar mechanic. It's like, you know, you need copper to make this. And it drives me nuts because I don't know where the copper is.
I mean, the only thing I was familiar with, like when you know, got all the tall necks and everything, you see like what areas, like what part of the area is what machine and what part of the area has the corrupted machines.
Right.
So it's like, okay, this is where those Striders are, or the Watcher, or, you know, the horse. Again, I'm not good with the names.
You're doing great.
I will say my favorite, while we're on the topic of machines, my favorite one was the Ram one. I can't remember the name.
Right.
Specifically.
Is it the Strider?
No, it looked like a ram. I know the Strider's the horse.
I'm spacing on the name of it too now.
But it was my again, I liked that you could have mounts in the game.
Yeah.
And then I also, like I said, when you told me about the cauldrons and what they do, it's like, oh, had I done that one mission, I would have known what they were for.
Right.
But when I was like looking at maps, like, what are those strange triangular symbols? I don't know, what are those? I don't want to go to those because I don't know if it would benefit me.
Right.
And then until I looked it up and you told me, it's like, oh, okay, that's what they're for. They help you, you know, control more beasts, whether you have them as an ally or a mount, which
right
would have been a lot easier instead of just, you know, destroying like an entire family of the crocodile looking ones, or
yeah, absolutely,
or the cassowary type ones, or whatever, you know. Because I'll admit, I got on a murderous rampage when there were like certain machines all together in one area.
Right.
Because, you know, there's a chance of getting loot, and then my favorite, which is the rare loot, which you can sell, which also comes in handy when you want to buy better armor, which I will say I love the armor system. I'm glad it's not one of those games where it's just, this is the armor you get throughout the entire game. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah. I definitely like the armor variety, and I do like that they didn't fall into like the classic trap of like sexy armor, and that's all I get. Like she has like an Oseram, I think it's the Oseram Spark Worker, I think it is, where she's got like a big like leather apron on the front.
Where she looks like a blacksmith.
Yeah, and she's got like, I don't even know what on her head. And I'm
That's
like,
a hat thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, I think she's wearing a diaper on her head. But you know what? At least she's not in a sports bra.
No, my favorite one, honestly, I almost got all the metal flower things to unlock that special armor. Because when I got some of the power cells, whatever, like, okay, hey, I can finally, oh wait, I have to collect more? Fuck that.
Yeah, the Shield Weaver armor.
Which you actually see what it looks like later throughout the game when you see more of the holograms and everything.
Right.
I know Aloy, you know, she makes it to her needs.
I think I did like that game, or I did like that armor, but my favorite that I ended up going with is it's one of the armors in the Frozen Wilds, and it's one of the Banuk. It's one of the Banuk Warwick outfits, and it has a passive healing ability. So once you're out of combat, it will slowly just, you know, replenish your health. And I really liked that mechanic because I found that I like playing on ultra hard. And guess what happens in ultra hard? All of your resources get like cut in half, and you're like, healing flowers? None of those.
It's like we're gonna make you work to get healed.
I know. I was like, so what if I just hoarded all of these and just use this armor in the meantime?
I mean, I will say that's why I like the new Game Plus feature too.
Oh yeah.
Once you beat the game, cool. Then you get like, you know, you get everything, all the items and everything, so you have more of an advantage.
Right.
I'll admit I played the story mode version where you're more focused on the story than the gameplay because
Right.
I wanted to enjoy the story
For
more
sure.
than the game itself. Which I know some people are gonna say, oh, you should have started in this mode, and whatever, blah blah blah. Because when I was playing through the game, I paused the game because it has a photo mode,
Right.
and it says like when you can like how do you want the filter to be, and then it shows war paints. Like, wait, what, war paint? You can add war paint in photo mode? I thought that was something you had to go buy, and you can put war paint on Aloy's face like you see with all the
Right.
other characters. Because I think that would have been I mean, I know that's not really a cool feature, but I think that would have been a cool cosmetic instead of like, oh well, you need to beat the game on this mode, then you can use it just for photo mode. It's like, well, that's pointless then.
Yeah, that's fair.
But
I love that game's photo mode. I've played one or two other games that have a photo mode, but not like as it doesn't do as much as the Horizon Zero Dawn photo mode. And that was super useful because I used that a lot to make this costume. I just had it open all the time, just zoomed in really close. I'm like, what is that?
I mean, again, the detail is really good. My only issue was when you were wearing certain armors, her hair would go. I mean, I know that's an issue with any game. You can't
Oh,
make
like
hair
hair.
super realistic. How you can't make the hair super realistic where it doesn't go through the armor, but like
Right.
the fine detail on the armor. I think one would be the Banuk armor is where she's wearing that big massive headdress that looks like it's horns
Yeah.
that you get like you can buy early in the game. That's probably my
Hmm.
favorite Banuk armor. But like when I was doing photo mode and everything, where I pause it, I would zoom in and just like the fine detail from either the armor or the sun reflecting off her skin. They did a really good job. I can't imagine how long it would take just to make like a single piece on like the armor, for example, like her Noir Brave outfit that she gets later, like earlier in the game, which you're wearing.
Yeah. I yeah, the details incredible. It's crazy. I cannot believe it. It's like they did release like a cosplay guide about the time that the game came out, but yeah, I didn't really look at that. I was like, oh, what do I need that for? Just
I
zoom in on the
mean,
TV.
I can tell that you were definitely one of those who want to get it at. I mean, I know getting off topic here, you were wanting to try to get as accurate as her in game armor from like beginning of the game.
Yep.
Jeez, I mean, I think I asked this before, but how long did it take you to make her Noir Brave outfit?
I mean, it was inconsistent, but it was over a 9-month period, and it was like my first real build that I've done, so it took a while. I did a lot of stupid things. I punched all the holes with a hammer and a nail because I didn't have a leather puncher. And let
Oh,
me
gee.
tell you, that was really
The
stupid.
old-fashioned way.
Oh yeah, it's great.
But I also like the fact that this game, especially in the Noir homeland, has that. I like that Viking vibe to it. Because you
Right.
see all the Noir with the war paint, the dreads.
Yeah, they really do a good job of like selling the culture of the area and just it really does feel like, Nora homeland.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, the universe takes place 300 to 400 years or so in the future, and everyone's kind of went backwards
Yeah.
in time instead of forward. What like Elizabeth and her team were wanting, because again they were wanting to recreate the world by creating all these different AIs, and one of the AIs would create the machines, one would do
Hmm.
this, one would do that, and then Hades was just more of a I don't know, a last minute thing.
Right.
Um, I guess one of the other things, what would you say your least favorite thing about this game was? Because I know everyone has that one thing they just didn't like that could have been improved on.
Mm, I guess there's one thing that wasn't my favorite. Oh, I guess maybe two. I didn't like that you couldn't go and see the Banuk before the DLC. I thought it was kind of odd that they were referenced so heavily and you could get armor from them. And like it wasn't
Right.
until a year later that they were like, hey, you want to go? I was like, where were you a year ago?
Yeah, because at first when you see when you look at the map, you don't even see that area at all.
Right.
And then when you get when you buy the DLC, it's like you see that area right over there. and it's like a level 30, 40 something area.
Right.
I remember playing that because I already beat the game, so it's like, okay, well, I'm done with the game. I don't really want to go find that other stuff. I want to see what this DLC is all about. And I remember doing that, and that's when like Silence says, "Don't go here. This, don't worry about this place. Be more focused on the game." I was just like, "Shut up, Silence! I already beat the game. I want to see what this area is like."
Yeah, right.
And I remember like hearing all the Banuk say how they heard Silence, but they like once they heard that name, they just like freaked out, kind of.
Right. I think if there's anything else I didn't really like about the game, it might be the bandit settlements.
Oh, where you have to like beat them all, and then unlock, basically free all the outcasts and everything.
The outcasts move in and get to live there. Like, I like the concept, but
It's kind of been done. I hate to say it. I mean,
also, I'm not a good stealth player at all.
I've played a bunch of Assassin's Creed, and I did my best to do a bunch of stealth stuff in this game. I'll admit that. Sometimes I felt, okay, let's get sneaky because we have to.
Right.
Other than just like running in with your spear, your arrows, and all that. I will say though, I do like the stealth thing, especially when it really came down to it, because one of my favorite things in this game, I try to do the best I could, were always like headshots.
Right.
I just love doing the headshots when you're sneaking, because no one will hear you, and it's an instant kill, so you can get. That's what I did in most of the areas, especially when it was like the eclipse and everything.
Mm-hmm.
During the main story, it was, again, I love that. One of my favorite missions, I will have to say, was when you're what was it? Something ring. It's where you're Varl and his mother and a few Noir are
Oh, the Devil's Thirst?
yeah, I think that's what it's called. It's you, Varl, and the others are trying to sneak into the area to do something. All I remember was that's when you're introduced to that big bison like looking machine that's corrupted. You have to sneak. You sneak.
Yeah, I think that's Devil's Thirst. It's like shortly after the attack on the Nora in the
Mhm.
beginning. And
Yeah.
then Sona has gone with
Yeah,
her
that's her name,
group.
Varl's and Vala's mother.
Yeah, and then Sona has gone with her little group of warriors, and they're like, we're going to find out who killed them, and we're going to kill them right back.
Yeah, that didn't work out. That was probably my favorite one, because that big explosion when the others start coming in, and then you're all trying to fight that big giant corrupted machine.
Right.
Which, I will say another thing I like about this game is the focus. Probably the best thing ever, because for me, it lets me know, okay, well, what's the easiest way I can destroy this machine? It's like, okay, well, there are things right there, but I can't get to it, so I have to basically just piss all the machines off just so I can hit that one thing that just blows it up altogether.
Right.
What were your thoughts on the focus, having that little nifty device throughout the game?
I liked it a lot. I've seen it's kind of like with the Witcher senses and like Witcher 3. That's the only one I've played.
Or like,
The Witcher 3.
or like Eagle Vision in Assassin's Creed.
Right, but I liked that they like took those like same basic mechanics and like tweaked them and polished them, because like when the focus is like active, you have to like walk slowly. But if you're like following a foot trail, then it will stay lit even if you like drop out of the focus mode. Like, things that will stay lit.
I will say that comes in real handy, so you can see a machine's path, like, okay, what direction they're walking in, so I can either avoid them or sneak up behind them and then use my staff thing and stab them in the butt, and then tear them to be good and everything.
Right. Versus like I had a similar issue in The Witcher 3, where it's like I'm trying to focus on this one thing, and then I'm like, okay, I've got it, and I'll like close out of the Witcher senses, and it's like it's gone. I'm like, where was it? Where did it go?
Where'd it go? I don't know where. I need to do it again.
I know.
I mean, again, I think the focus is pretty cool. I even liked it when you were playing on the PS4 and your PS4 controller makes that noise too.
Yeah.
Like,
That's a fun little detail.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely was. Any other favorite characters you have aside from, Aloy, of course?
Mm, so it's Aloy, Ikri, who you probably haven't met yet, but
Probably
she's
not.
great. Um, oh, I'm totally spacing on her name, but there's another one in the Frozen Wilds. And if you bring her the Storm Slinger, she will upgrade it for you. I don't remember what her name is, but she is fabulous. She's an Oseram. I love her so much. Um, Talana, Zanasha.
Just a bunch of random names.
Yeah. Talana you see in the Hunter's Lodge.
I like my first playthrough, like when I played a few years ago, I tried those things. Really wasn't my thing.
Right.
I don't know what. So what are the Hunter Lodges like? What are they good for exactly?
Hmm. I mean, like, besides like being a completionist,
No.
um, so if you go to all the different hunting grounds, I think there are like 3 or 4 throughout the world. And
Well,
if you get, I
and
think it's like,
there's
what's
also the
that?
one. There's also the one in the Frozen Wilds.
Right. So if you go to like that one is really hard. That is really hard.
Yes, well, I'm not going to do that as a side mission to impress that Banuk war chief. I'll do the other two things.
But if you go to like the different hunting grounds, and I think it's if you get like perfect marks from each one and you come back to Meridian with your perfect marks, they will let you into the Hunter's Lodge. And then from there, you can get like some exclusive weapons, like the Hunter's Lodge bow, and I think there's like a special trip caster.
I'd have to leave something
Um,
behind.
and then, you get like a little additional story, like Talana's in there and she's a female, and there's like some dude being really sexist, and he's like, "You can't do this. You're a woman," and she's like,
Mm-hmm.
mm. So she and Aloy team up and take down this big beast, and she becomes the new leader of the Sun Lodge, and it's great.
Nice. I imagine that's a nice little cutscene.
It's fun. She has a good sense of humor, and she gets along really well with Aloy, and they just have a really great dynamic.
Nice. Yeah, no, again, I didn't really do much of the side missions. I'm like, so like when I used to play the Wild Hunt, I would do the main story and then I would do the side missions that would benefit the main story and a little few
Right.
off here and there that like, yeah, I just want to do it because I kept on dying, but I wanted to complete it just so I wouldn't have to be bugged about it. But then I also did like the side missions that kind of had, you know, an effect on the main story.
For sure.
That's the kind of person I am when it comes to open world games. That's how I was with um this game. I would do a few random mini side missions that would just help level up, and then I would do some side missions that like I felt like would benefit the story.
Right. I just get really distracted when I play open world games, and I go, "Oh, what's over that hill?" And then I get to the top of that one, I'm like, "But what's over that hill?" And I just keep going. And my first playthrough, by the time I got back to the main story, I think I was like twice the level you're supposed to be. I was like, "Oh,
It's just like
oops."
one whack against a machine, and it's just like
Yep,
destroyed.
yep, yeah.
Aloy's staff. What were your thoughts on the fact that like halfway through the beginning of the game, you could basically control, machines once you beat the cauldron and then beat the cauldron boss? Because I know you're able to like manipulate some machines right away,
Mhm.
like mainly the mountable ones. I know you have to beat the
Right.
cauldrons in order to, and if I'm not mistaken, the cauldron only lets you control certain creatures. You can't like control them all.
You can control them all to an extent, but each cauldron only lets you do a few. So if you want to get all of them, you have to visit all the cauldrons. But if you just wanted a certain 4, you just go to one cauldron.
Right. What would you say your favorite thing to tame or have an ally as was, aside from the Thunderjaw?
I like the snap maws and which is like the gator.
You're
And
right.
then there's I'm totally spacing on the name of it, but there's one that looks like a chicken that hangs out in the desert
I know
near
which one.
Meridian.
I know which ones you're talking about. I believe.
I
Um,
like those ones. They're really fast and they're really mean.
Now, are they a mountable one or are they an ally?
No, they're just an ally. That's one thing I'm hoping we see some variety in as far as the new game goes, is like more mount options, because yeah, it's pretty much anything that looks like a bull
Mm-hmm.
or a horse you can mount, but that's about it. So you've really only got like
I always hope it
3
would be pretty
options.
cool if you were able to mount a Thunderjaw.
I know, right?
And I was kind of bummed, not gonna lie, because I didn't realize the game did that. It's like when you got certain close to a certain settlement, it's like, sorry, you can't bring your mount in here. Like,
Right.
but I want to bring it. Why can't I bring him with me? How rude. Um, let's see. I think we covered a good chunk of the story, sort of. Any other thoughts on the main story for Horizon Zero Dawn that you liked? So I like, when I do my podcast, what was your, I guess I already asked you what was your least favorite thing about the story and what was your favorite thing about the story?
Hmm. I think one of my favorite parts of the story was finding out that Ted Faro was like, we can't give humanity our disease. And so, like, he created the machines that had no back door. And so he caused, the extinction of the whole planet.
Pretty
And then
much.
Elizabeth comes in and she's like, hey, here's the one shot you have to save your ass. And then he's like, no, we can't do that. And then just like burns it all down. And that's
Oh
why,
yeah, and basically kills all the main scientists by suffocating them and trapping them in that
right.
room,
He kills
which
all
is
the
like
main
a
scientists.
like
He destroys all their knowledge and their learning centers.
basically I'm going down. If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me, kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
like, dude didn't even want to own up to his mistakes. So like, well, I know I fucked up, but just so you know, I'm bringing you guys with me
Yeah.
and everything.
I think, what did I least like? I thought the Shadow Carja were neat, but I didn't feel like we saw enough of them for me to like.
Who were the Shadow Card? Were they like the guys you fought, or was that the? No, I'm thinking of the
The
Eclipse.
Shadow Carja was another settlement you went to. Keyless lived there. And you have to go back in with a face covering. I think the Eclipse lived there.
The one that's my favorite armor that I actually used at the end of the game during
Shadow Stalwart.
Yeah, the one that Silence gives you, saying, if you want to go back to here, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to wear this.
Yes.
I know there's like another a side mission that you could do where that gal who has the veil and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wanted to go back to that, but was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to, so I'm just gonna continue the story.
Yeah, there are a couple side missions in that area, but not a whole lot. And there are times where it feels a little bit like an afterthought or maybe incomplete, but I feel like it had potential and just maybe wasn't 100% realized.
So, with you completing the game 100% all the side missions, what was that side mission supposed to be about when you're going into that underground facility and you see that girl with the veil talking about how the Sun King and there's that little kid who has his major domo speak for him and everything? What was all that about?
Oh, yes. Oh boy. What was this? I think, if I remember correctly, he is Avad's, the Sun King Avad Meridian.
Mm-hmm.
He is Avad's half-brother. And so they're like, hey, you're related, so we're going to snatch you, and you're going to be, the Sun King of the Shadow Carja. And Vanasha is the lady with the veil, and she's like, hey, he and his mom are being held hostage here. We need to get them out, and we smuggle them out.
I could tell just the way that the boy acted and everything.
Right.
Yeah. So what was the main purpose of what was the main goal mission for that side quest? If you can remember.
Get him out of the home of the Shadow Carja and get him to Meridian.
And I imagine it has effect on the main story, in a sense.
No, not really. It's kind of just another thing you can do. No one stops you. You're wearing a mask.
Speaking of the Sun King, dude was hitting on Aloy as soon as you brought Ezra back and everything. Like, dude, you had feelings for this one, then you find out she's dead. So it's like, hey, this one girl I loved was dead. How about you and I? It's like, back off, dude.
He's grieving and confused, and I feel like I can only blame him so much for that. But I really did like.
I turned him down as nice as I could. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you're still getting over this girl you had
Yeah.
feelings for. Like,
For
keep it
sure.
in your pants.
That is one aspect I liked about the story, though, is so regardless of what it is, I hate it when a story has something just for the sake of having it. And a lot of times it ends up being like a pointless romance. And I really liked that you could not romance Aloy with anybody.
Yeah,
she did not have a relationship with anybody.
I mean, she was hit on by the Sun King. She was hit on by that one gal before the final fight when
Right.
you know she was testing out the big, massive like gun cannon things, which
Right.
was my favorite mission when you're just like blasting those fireball things at all the
Right.
machines, like murder. But yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't. Yeah, I know that's not. I know that some people aren't really, you know, keen on that subject, but it doesn't really tell what Aloy's sexuality is, and I think that's, you know, really shouldn't be a big ordeal.
Yeah, I liked it because, you know, whether it's gay, straight, or something else, it doesn't matter. And I liked that it didn't matter because she's just, you know, she's just there to take down all of the dinosaur overlords, and that's kind of it.
Pretty much basically save humanity from being from a mass extinction. You know, that was kind of what the first one was. In the first one, it's like, oh, why does everyone hate me? Why am I like this? Okay, now I'm part of your tribe. Can you tell me? Oh, you can't. Oh, I have to go and be made a seeker and do all this stuff and find out who I finally am. Oh, my main purpose was basically to save the world. Great. I feel like, I'm sure like in the back of Aloy's mind is like, you know, I was just better off just not being a Noir and just living out.
Yeah, right. Maybe I should have just left it alone. Let's be real though, she could not have left it alone.
No.
She was gonna end up there one way or another.
It's the plot.
Right.
She's got plot armor. So I guess we kind of talked about off and on. What was it like when you were playing the DLC, the Frozen Wilds?
I liked that a lot. I was very surprised by how difficult it was. Like, I went in after doing a new game plus, so I had like additional weapons and additional outfits, and like I'd leveled her up a little bit more, and I was just, it didn't fuck around. It really came for me.
Oh no, I
Like,
agree
I was
on
like,
that.
whoa, wait, where's this level of difficulty the entire rest of the game?
Oh man, my issue was when you're in that cave system with the wind chimes. I had a difficulty trying to find. I kept on getting turned back around when you have to find that one gal. I think my least favorite thing about the DLC are the puzzles.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to go? Yeah, you want to go find this person? Well, you're gonna have to go through this maze with the wind chime things. Oh, you want to go to the store where you're gonna have to move all these switches around. Oh, you want to talk to her? Well, you have to do this thing again, but twice as hard as the other one. Like,
yeah,
if that's what this DLC is gonna be about with puzzles, screw that.
Yeah, there's one puzzle where there's like an Oseram there, and I think you're dealing with what is it? Is it a dam? I think it is. Yeah.
Damn.
That was interesting. I was like, oh cool, just go unlock the door. No. Sit down, it's gonna be 30 minutes.
I had the one where you had to unlock the puzzle for that one crazy chick to talk to her quote unquote spirit friend who was the AI.
Right.
I had to go on YouTube to look up the damn thing. Like, oh, so like when I was like looking up on YouTube, it's like, oh, so the first time around I did it. was my least favorite. That was my least favorite. I mean, I'm sure the rest of the DLC is great. I think my favorite thing also is collecting those blue things that you can use to buy
Yeah, the
special
blue
armor.
gleam.
Yeah, thank you. But I know like I can't imagine like where you have exactly the rest are. I just like come across some here and there. I came across one when I had to basically get all the parts to reinstall that tall neck,
For
which
sure.
I did not like doing. It's like, oh, there's a tall neck. Wait, why is it damaged? Wait, where's? God damn it! The DLC really makes you work to get to the next area.
It does. I did kind of like that aspect about it. I did replay the game in ultra hard because I wanted something a little more realistic, if you will, because the game starts and it does that cutscene of like it does like that montage. First you're like 6 years old, and then suddenly you're 18, and they're like, you're a master archer and a master of the wild, and I'm like, I'm going the wrong direction, you guys. I don't know what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, I finally have a grip on the controls. Let's do this as if I actually were a master archer.
I mean, it would have been cool to actually play throughout that montage here and there. I mean, I know for plot purposes, like, okay, we're gonna show Aloy learning how to do this so she can be proved,
Right.
so she can prove her worth, and then enter the proving. It's not till like the close to the end of the game when you come back out of All Mother, it's like, we respect you, even though we thought you were worthless. We respect you. And Aloy is just like, you know what? Fuck all of you.
I
You
know, I
treated me
love
like shit. You treated me like this, and now you realize I'm some great person who's supposed to save the world. Is like, you know what? I was better off living
I
with
see.
Ross and everything.
Now I'm important.
Oh God, when they realize, oh, she's a even the guy who hated you is just like, I even fell for Aloy, like
Yeah.
just to be, going through your whole life being shunned and treated like, an outsider to really like treated with respect by those who like, didn't see you as such is like, wow, that's just like real life.
Right. Um, so like puzzles aside as like, maybe like slightly less enjoyable parts of the Frozen Wilds, I really like what they did with the environment. I love it's such a nitpicky thing, but I love the sound of the snow.
Ooh, right?
It's so realistic, and then I love like the bright colors the Banuk use. It's like it's really pretty against the snow.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. Um, I know I haven't, like I said, I'm probably have to just watch the whole gameplay on YouTube or of the Frozen Wilds. Do you actually get to go to that volcano that you see? Or
Yes, that's one of the last places you go right towards the end.
it's like I think it's called something drum.
Yes, I'm spacing on the name.
But I know
But yeah,
that's like
you
where
can
that
go
one
there. It's
other
like
rogue
the
AI
very
is.
last thing.
It looked like the cutscene when you first get to the Manuka camp where they're doing that, that ceremony thing.
Hmm.
That was like again, that was pretty awesome. They were able to bring in that giant bird.
Right.
I can't remember again the name, but it looked peaceful. My favorite thing though was it was kind of unexpected was fighting that giant damn robotic gorilla that just came out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but I know it's like I feel like it's one of the biggest things you fight altogether in Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm sure. I'm not sure if there's anything bigger, but I know fighting that thing was like I felt like the biggest thing to fight.
Right. I'm spacing on the name of it.
I just call it just I called the damn thing King Kong because it was easy to fight
Right.
because I've come to realize like enemy. I'm glad, and that's one thing I like what they did. They made like the big enemies big and slow, so you had time to like get around them. But like the smaller, thinner enemies, like you kind of had to like time it just right.
Right. For sure.
Let's see. We've been on an hour of this. I guess now, last but not least, as we also kind of talk about it, what are you looking forward to for Horizon Forbidden Wests, and what do you think? What would you like to see?
Well, I'm excited about a lot of different things. Just based on the trailers, I had to pick just some things from the trailers, I'm really excited for the glider. That's
Ooh,
one thing I enjoyed using a lot in Breath of the Wild, was I can
yeah,
just
I saw
go
that.
wherever I want and then just glide down.
Oh,
I
I
really
can't
enjoy that as an exploration tool.
can't wait to see if you can use that during combat. Just glide down
Yeah,
and just like jump on someone and just that'd be pretty cool.
and then of course I'm excited about some of the the new machines, but I'm really excited for the snake. I think they're calling it the Slither Fang.
The
I'm
thing that
really
looks like
excited to see that.
I saw the trailer and that like, oh great. I have to fight a giant robotic cobra?
Yeah, right.
Great. That thing doesn't look dangerous at all.
I do like that we're getting something that looks more tropical. I think
Oh yeah.
that's a good change of pace because they could have really, recycled the any of the environments that we've already seen.
Well, part of it takes place in some of the from the first one. A good chunk of it takes place in California because you see the Golden
Right.
Gate Bridge,
Hmm.
which and so it takes place there and part of Nevada.
Gotcha.
But
Yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah. There are
definitely
like some
more of a
underwater casinos, I think,
but
in the
there's
trailer.
definitely more of a tropical aspect, which again I do like.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of I'm probably gonna hate it because I hate anything that has an underwater level. I'm saying that right now.
My only experience with underwater levels has been the Legend of Zelda series, and they've not been my favorite, but you know what? I'm just gonna hold out hope that I don't hate Horizon Forbidden West's underwater levels.
I was seeing in the trailer and I was doing some research. You get like a breathing apparatus thing.
Yeah, I've
I'm
seen that. It's
guessing
like a
that's something that you get later in the game and that you can upgrade to like where you can just be
ooh,
underwater all the time. I don't
that's cool.
know. Yeah, and if you watch the trailer and some gameplay, it shows her like under certain underwater parts, she has like a breathing apparatus
Right.
thing. So it's like, okay, good. I don't know if that's something you have to get or you have to make or
It's just
upgrade.
given to you.
Exactly. I don't know.
Right.
I imagine the glider is given to you though, because that was shown a good chunk of the game.
Right. And
Um,
then, I'm excited, of course, for the new costumes because I love seeing Aloy in new outfits, and then I'm gonna make like 10 of them, of course.
right. I mean, I know that again, it shows her basic her Nora default outfit, but
Right.
I can't wait to see what they come up with for this one.
Right.
Um, if I'm really being honest, the one thing I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping you can ride the damn thing, is that elephant.
Yeah,
I
the
just
war elephant.
I saw that and it reminds me of the Oliphants from Lord of the Rings. I want to take one down just so I can just yell that still only counts as one. Because I have a feeling when you fight one of those things, it's gonna have guys riding on it.
I hope that is quite the fight because it looks like
It
it looks like
looks
it should be a boss fight.
that thing looks massive.
I know.
There I mean we're also introduced to raptor like looking things.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Something that resembles a little more of a dinosaur. I mean, like in the first game, a lot of them resembled, like actual animals, and this one, some of these more resemble actual like dinosaurs.
Yeah, the elephant one looked like a mammoth. I'm not looking forward to finding that cobra looking thing. I just it just no. I didn't like the alligator things in Horizon. And I will say I have to be careful because when I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I always made the mistake thinking, "Oh yeah, I can jump that."
Ha!
Nope. Nope. Bye, Aloy.
Now with a glider, you can.
I don't, but who knows what the time frame on that glider is going to be?
Right.
If it's anything like any other glider you use, it's going to last for like a couple seconds. But I imagine you can probably upgrade it too, or change the glider color or something.
Right.
I don't know.
I'm
Uh,
wondering if they're going to incorporate free climbing. It's hard to tell based off of
I
just the
I
snippets in the
was
trailers.
I was looking at I was looking online about it. I think that's one thing they're gonna add is free climbing like they did like what you could do in Assassin's Creed
Right.
later games, which if that is, that'd be pretty cool because then I imagine they're gonna have like, oh well, there's this hidden item up on top of this big cliff. You're gonna have to climb it
Right.
or whatever. Um And if most people don't realize, when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, if after that one scene, after you exit out of the All Mother door, when you're talking to, I think, Jezza,
Hmm.
or the matriarch that liked you, she was
Right.
telling you about Rost's backstory, how he was a Death Seeker, how he traveled to places like the Forbidden West. So I think the creators were wanting to make a sequel when that game came out, because that's like that when I was playing the game, I was like, oh, so they do mention the Forbidden Wests.
Right.
I'm sure anyone who because I like talking to certain people in the game, finding out this and that. And when I was talking to her, because I wanted to learn more about Rost, how he
Hmm.
became a Death Seeker and everything to get revenge and all this and everything, and I was just like, okay, because I'm sure anyone who listened, like, what's the Forbidden West? What's that? Well, like 5 years later, well, get to see what the Forbidden West looked like. And I'm hoping, I doubt it's gonna be a thing. I feel like it's be more just a background thing. Is I hope you can kind of at least try to climb the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, to some extent, that would definitely be neat.
So I'm guessing if the game takes place in San Francisco, you may get to see ruins of what Alcatraz looked like. Who knows?
Ooh, that would be neat.
Anything else you want to add in about this game, or something you're I guess, what else are you wanting for Horizon part 2?
Hmm.
Or what's your theory on what the story may be like from what you looked at the trailer?
Oh, good grief! I have no idea what the plot's gonna be.
We see Silence, so I'm guessing, I
Yeah,
imagine
we see
Silence,
Silence out causing problems.
and we see
I
this
would not be
new
surprised if it's like,
we see this new gal, who we saw at
yeah.
the end of the trailer. Fun fact, she's played by the same chick who played as Trinity in Matrix.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's the voice, it's the actor who's gonna be mocap and voicing her. So I imagine
Gotcha.
she's gonna play some major role, because at the end of the trailer, you like, okay, she's gonna be like some kind of, who knows what she's gonna be, but she definitely seems important.
I've seen some other people theorize that she's from a more advanced tribe, but I'm not so sure. I'm
I,
I'm kind of wondering if maybe she's from like the previous time with Elizabeth and part of the old ones.
so basically, like she like cryogenically froze herself or something.
Potentially, I don't even know if she's alive or not.
That, yeah, no,
All we've seen of her is like what, a hologram?
yeah, real quick before I go, so when I was looking up Horizon Zero Dawn on YouTube, it showed Horizon Zero Dawn when it first was like, when they first came up with the idea, I think it was like back 2013, 2014. If you
Hmm.
go on your video, you look at Horizon Zero, how Horizon Zero Dawn was made or something, it'll show you what early concepts look like,
Yeah,
to
I've seen
what
those.
what the quote unquote demo was like, to what the full game was looked like. So the game has been like in development since 2013, 2014. So 3-4 years before the game came out,
I know it's
it's been in development way longer than
outrageous.
that. Who knows how long this one has been in development for? Probably since the first one, especially if they mention the Forbidden Wests.
Right. I
Uh,
was so shocked when they announced this game. They were like, "Hey, do you know it's confirmed for a trilogy?" I was like, "Excuse me,
Wait, a
I didn't know I was
trilogy?
getting a second one." Yeah,
So a third one,
confirmed for a
huh?
trilogy.
I
I
guess
was like,
before.
"Wow, it's my freaking birthday."
I imagine they're probably gonna do the same, release it February 2026 or something.
Hmm.
Because if by the way I'm looking at, they may release the sequel in 5 more years
Right.
of the
And then
second one.
there's that other standalone side game they're working on. What is it? Into the Mountains? Call of the Mountains? I don't remember what it's called. Call of the Mountain?
Is it by the same company?
Yeah, but
Huh.
you don't play as Aloy.
Oh, so it's like a standalone. Where is it, like in the same universe?
Yeah, and they're it's supposed to be for the PlayStation VR.
So it's a VR game. Huh.
Yeah,
That should be interesting to see.
we've hardly seen anything of it right now. I think maybe a 30-second clip of it. That's it.
I'm also looking forward to see what DLC quests are going to be. I mean, I know when we get the game, we're going to see the entire map, but I'm told that the map for this game, for the sequel, is supposed to be so much bigger
Oh, I can't wait.
than the first one. And I imagine if it's anything, if it's anything, could be like anything like its predecessor, it's going to mention some random tribe we don't get to see. We get to wear their armor, and then like a year later, some extra part of the map's going to be open where you get to do something over there.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that's not the case. I hope we get to see everyone, and then potentially they just add some new people if they go the DLC route.
Well, who knows? But no one. I mean, I have to say the game is really well done. I guess anything else you want to add in before we end this review, and before we decide if this game was worth making or not?
I don't think I've left anything out.
We covered a good chunk of the
I know.
DLC, the sequel, and a decent amount. Again, I also want to give a shout out mention to Iki Snow, who cannot be here. I know she was really looking forward to being part of this review, so she could share her opinion on it as well.
Yeah, I wish she could have been here.
Hopefully she gets feeling better. So I guess the last thing is, as the title goes for this segment, was Horizon Zero Dawn worth making?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
I mean, I honestly think it was. I'm looking forward to seeing the sequel again. This video will be coming out on about 2 weeks before the release of Horizon Forbidden West. So there'll be a nice little, thing to watch and get ready for the sequel, because I know I'm definitely going to buy the game when it comes out. I'm going to have to, because I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait to do a review for that one, probably, a few months after I play it, just so,
Right.
people have the chance and, don't get hit with you should have put a spoiler warning. I'm probably going to put a spoiler warning.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to put a spoiler warning for this one just to be on the safe side. So yeah. I think it's all in agreement that this game is definitely worth making.
I was convinced, and let me tell you, I was a non-believer.
Hey, you always have your doubts on those games that will it look good, because we've been kind of let down the past couple of years with some games that have come out in the past 5 years. Cyberpunk 2077. Ooh. Yeah. So again, Kyra, thank you for coming on, and of course also showing off your Aloy cosplay for this podcast review.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course. Again, I'm Wayne the Unknown. Thank you for listening to this episode of Was It Worth Making? And until next time, thank you for watching.